Hey, it's Peter Reed Miller from On Sports Photography with Peter Reed Miller. Talking to you today from the Oakland Alameda Coliseum. We're at an Oakland A's game, and I'm with one of my best friends and one of the most knowledgeable baseball people I know, Brad Mangin.
Hey, Peter. It's pretty cool to be here with you.
That it is. It's a beautiful night for a ball game. Weather's great. It's going to be a lot of fun. Brad, tell me, how many years have you shot here?
I shot my first game here in April of 1987, Mark McGuire's rookie year. I was a college student interning at the Contra Costa Times newspaper, not too far from here. And so that's scary because that's a long time ago.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
So you worked at the Contra Costa Times, and then you went to the National?
I went to the National Sports Daily. Neil Leifer hired me in 1990, worked there for all of 1 year until we went out of business. Then I had the pleasure of cashing rainbow-colored unemployment checks, making $230 a week.
I've seen those.
You literally run to the mailbox because you have no other money. Yeah. Kicked around at a small newspaper for a little bit, and then quit to freelance in 1993. And I've been on my own since 1993. Most of it good. Recently, not so good, but it's been a fun ride, and I've been able to meet. The best part is meeting people and getting to work with great people like Peter.
Well, you've shot a lot for Sports Illustrated. I know that back in the good days of Sports Illustrated. In fact,
you used to pick me up when I'd come to L.A. sometimes. We did some horse racing and a Rose Bowl.
We did the great Rose Bowl escape.
We did the Rose
records.
Peter Miller knows how to get out of Pasadena and get to the P.F. Chang's in Manhattan Beach in about 12 minutes.
It was a record.
You didn't know that. It was unbelievable.
It was a record night. So, and you've worked a little bit for MLB over the years?
Yeah, shot a lot for Major League Baseball, did work for the Upper Deck Trading Card Company when trading cards was a big business in the 90s, and done work for pretty much anyone that you can do work who used to pay photographers.
Yes,
work.
They did. So, Brad, in all your shooting baseball, give me 5 things that you think are most important about making a good baseball photo.
One thing I always look for, well, 2 things. It's almost a tie, first and second for me, is light and backgrounds. I got to have good light and I got to have a clean background. Now, a lot of times you have no choice, but a lot of times you do have a choice. You get there early, study the park, study the light, and pick a spot where the light's going to be good, where the background is going to be good. Usually, from one side of the field is better than the other. And a lot of times if I'm going somewhere new, I'll go online and I'll Google and look and see where the light's better than it is. Like from here at Oakland, from first base, the light is really bad during a day game until like 3 o'clock. So I like to shoot backlit when the light's bad. So I'll come over to inside third or third, and then I'll move over to first after 3 when that becomes backlit. But if it's overcast, then I'm going to take advantage of it, and I might start from first, and take advantage of the overcast light. It's all about the light and the backgrounds for me. In some places, there's bad handicap bars in the seating areas that get in the way, so you don't want those. Or you look for ads in the outfield fence that are going to ruin your picture. You don't want those. The light and the backgrounds, and then I look for faces, emotion, and a lot of just body language style. It's not about shooting a tight vertical baseball card of a guy swinging a bat. You're looking to make a picture, and we really want something that tells the story of the game, but also something that really looks good, something that evokes a feeling, something that's pretty. When we worked for Sports Illustrated back in the day, they were always looking for 2-page spread leading off double trucks. And a lot of times it was go to a game, shoot the light, and try and make a picture. And a lot of times you'd go upstairs, shoot overhead, shoot a 5 o'clock game, shoot the long shadows, just try and make one great picture. That's the funnest assignment of all to me.
Yes, totally. And those were great assignments. That essay on the wall.
Oh my gosh.
And the essay where we basically shot the outfield wall all season, different things about it, and the essay about the lines.
Oh yeah.
We had some great assignments at Sports Illustrated, some great things to do. Tell me, Brad, it's important to know baseball, though. It's important to know the players, isn't it?
I think it helps. I mean, I'm spoiled because I know the game and I love the game, and I know who the players are and what they're going to do. I can't imagine shooting this game, not knowing the game, not knowing who the players are, because it's really boring. Nothing happens. And to sit here as a photographer during a 3.5-hour game, and especially nowadays, the game's changed. When I started in the 80s, there were a lot of stolen bases, there were a lot of double plays, there was a lot of action. Now, everyone strikes out or hits a home run. There's not much action on the base paths. There's no collisions at home plate because you're not allowed to collide with the catcher anymore. There's a lot of stuff that's changed, and it's harder to make a great action picture. You're not really excited when you come back with a picture of a guy throwing a ball or a guy swinging a bat. You're always trying to get something special, and it's a bummer when you come back with nothing, and sometimes it's not your fault, but the good thing about baseball is there's a game the next day, and depending who you're working for, a lot of times you have a chance to go back out there the next day and get something better.
Yeah, really. Some days you get it, some days you don't. You just have to keep at it. There's a lot of baseball games, but I think you're totally right about just making that different picture, because there's so much baseball being photographed every day, and so much of it is all the same, and we have a mutual friend, Steve Fine, who looks at stuff on the wires, and he just hates it. He says it's terrible.
Oh, it's so boring. I mean, one of the best pieces of advice I got years ago when I was in school is you look where all the other photographers are and go somewhere else. That was one of the best things about working at SI is having editors that would trust you to go somewhere else and try and make a special picture because they didn't want the same old stuff. The whole idea is an editor trusting a photographer and willing to pay that photographer to bring back special original content that you can't get anywhere else. And man, that was fun. I mean, I did a lot of football games with Peter, a lot of big 49er games at Candlestick where we'd have 5 photographers and I would be like the weird up guy shooting light, and it was but it was cool. It'd be like a team effort. Peter would have like the incredible Jerry Rice opener, and I might have some weird picture from upstairs, and VJ would have a picture. Everyone
had
their
something,
and it created great team game coverage, and because you don't want everything to look the same.
Exactly.
You can't have that. It's also breaking up the focal length when you shoot. You can't shoot everything with a long lens. You can't shoot everything with a wide lens. You want to break up your shoot so you have a really good, different look. I mean, half the battle to me is if you can come back with good pictures that you shot with a 70-200 or a wide-angle lens, which you can do if you kind of really work at it, your pictures are so special. Because it becomes a cliche, the basic long lens picture. We see it all the time.
Everybody's got a 400-2.8. Everybody's shooting the same thing. So the idea is to try and make something different.
Definitely.
So, Brad, you've worked on some books. You've got a book project coming out now. Tell me a little bit about that.
I've been working on a new book about former 49er great Dwight Clark, who passed away from ALS a little over a year ago. I was fortunate to spend about the last 6 months of his life with him at various lunches he had with teammates, at a reunion in Montana, and at his house about 2 weeks before he passed with a bunch of former teammates and coaches. The book is mostly full of photographs by the great Michael Zagaris from Dwight's playing days. I have some pictures towards the end of the book from the last few months of Dwight's life. It's called Letters to 87. You could go to letters87.com to see lots and lots about the book. We have 118 letters that fans wrote in to Dwight. Dwight loved to hear where you were when he made the catch. And Dwight loved his fans and getting to know Dwight, what a character he was. And it's really a special book. It's made by Canon and Company, a publisher up here in the Bay Area in Petaluma. I did a couple of Giants World Series books with them. They have an incredible designer named Ian Morris who did wonders with this book, and I just can't say enough about it. We're really thrilled.
And on top of that, Brad, you do a little iPhone photography, too.
I started shooting with my iPhone in 2012 and published a book later that year, actually the next year, 2013, called Instant Baseball, full of my iPhone baseball Instagrams. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I get a kick out of it. Nowadays, I shoot more pictures of my cats, it seems like, but did one this morning. But it was a fun way to prove that it's not the camera, it's the photographer, that you can take a good picture with any piece of equipment. I go nuts these days with everyone goes from this camera manufacturer to another manufacturer. I don't know where the hell they get their money. It's like rich mom and dad, grandparents die, leave them a pile of cash, or I don't know, or they rob banks, because my cameras are 7 years old and I will never, ever afford to be able to get a new one.
Well, I got to go back to what you said about your cats. You have some magic with your cats. My cats will not pose for me. Yeah, I look at your stuff and it's great, and I look at my cats and they run away when I bring out
my
the iPhone.
cats are good. My cats are pretty chill. They hang for it. Especially my boy cat Mike. He will just sit there and stare right at the camera.
Wow,
and it's
you're a lucky man.
It is good.
So, just to sum it up, Brad, someone who's new to baseball, I know you've talked about light and background and everything, but to me, that ability to maintain attention during long periods when nothing happens is a really unique ability to a baseball photographer. And I think you kind of summed it up by saying it's the knowledge of the game. But anything else you want to say on that?
Yeah, it's hard, especially when you're shooting next to friends like our good friend Michael Zagaris, who's been the A's team photographer here for 40 years. When you shoot with Z, there's always hysterical stories, and we're laughing, and you miss stuff. And a lot of times it is good to go somewhere weird, shoot by yourself. You're not distracted. You get bored easily because you miss your friends, but you got nothing to do but watch the game. And it's trying to keep your head in the game. It's like there's no one on. There's a right-handed hitter up. I'm going to sit on the shortstop or third baseman and wait for a dive. And 99% of the time, of course, that never happens. But the time when it does, you're pretty
something.
excited. You
Yeah.
get something. Because a lot of times nothing does happen in baseball, but it's your job to make a picture. And then you gotta figure something out. Say, I'm going to shoot wide, or I'm going to try and, really get some. I'm going to concentrate on the dugout, and I'm going to look for faces. I'm going to look for guys goofing around the dugout. I'm going to try and make this pretty silhouette of a guy in the on-deck circle, or I'm going to get low. If some parks allow you to get low and put the camera on the ground, you can't here, but you can in San Francisco. And just always think the harder you work, the better your pictures are going to be.
Exactly.
And always look. Find photographers whose work you like, and look in books, look online, look at their websites, see what they're doing, because more than likely they're doing something that you're not doing, and that's a great way to learn.
Exactly, Brad. Well, listen, it's been great talking to you today. It's been great having you on the YouTube. Thank you. We'll look for your book, and thank you all for listening. And stay with us, subscribe, and good shooting.
Thanks, Peter. This has been fun.
I want to thank my friends at GF Crew for making this video possible. If you want to make money shooting action sports, check out GF Crew. Go to gfcrew.com to join. It's free. They have a whole process and an app set up to help you make money shooting sports. Check it out. Get started today.